Beyond Numbers, Chartered Accountancy for a Changing World. So, for this webinar, we collaborated with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, which is the ICAP. And I'm going to now take this opportunity to thank ICAP and Fahad and Zakir for working with us on this webinar. I am now definitely going to introduce our speaker. So, Fahad Ahmed Hashmi serves as the National Outreach and Communications Lead at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, championing the CA Pakistan qualification nationwide. With expertise in education marketing, student counseling, and regional expansion, he has been at the forefront of initiatives that connect and inspire future chartered accountants across Pakistan. Fahad is passionate about guiding young minds. He specializes in career counseling and designing strategic programs that inspire and empower the next generation of professionals. So, thank you so much, Fahad. The floor is all yours now.
Okay, thank you very much, Navia, for such a warm welcome given to me. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. And as Navia said, the Karachiites are enjoying the rainy weather. Rather, they are more frightened of this weather. But the others who are not in Karachi and in other parts of the country, you must be experiencing good weather as well. So I am Fahad Ahmed Hashmi, as Navia told you, representing the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan over here. And I'm really glad and honored to address this group of people consisting of counselors. So before I move on, let's discuss the title. Let me share my slides first, and then we'll be discussing the title, which is a very interesting title recommended by the Cambridge team to me, and it's Beyond Numbers and Chartered Accountancy for a Changing World. And fortunately and unfortunately, people relate chartered accountancy with numbers. In fact, when I go and visit different schools and colleges, we must have met before as well at your institution. So when I go and speak to students, the first thing that they have in mind is, sir, my maths is not good. My mathematics is not up to the mark. I cannot come for chartered accountancy. And that's a point where I have to explain them that it's okay if your mathematics is not very good, because chartered accountancy on the whole, or on its outright, it's not related to mathematics at all. You need to be okay in maths. You need to know what basic mathematics is. You need to know what basic functions of mathematics are. But if you think you need a really hi-fi mathematics, or you need to have a really good skill in mathematics to be a chartered accountancy student, that's a myth. That's a misconception. So chartered accountancy is beyond numbers. It was always, and it is more now beyond numbers because of the emergence of new technology, evolving artificial intelligence. Now we have to equip our curriculum and our board of the scheme of studies in accordance with the new technology, so that we really change the lives of the people who study chartered accountancy. So today I am going to talk about this as well, that why chartered accountancy is something beyond numbers and what you can expect in it. As Nabia told you, we'll have the question and answers at the end of the session. So please keep noting some good questions. And I would be waiting for your good questions, because your questions would tell me how useful or how productive my session was. Okay. So moving on, let's move on. Okay, so this is the agenda. Introduction has been made. We'll understand what CA Pakistan is. When I say CA Pakistan, it means Chartered Accountancy, which belongs to Pakistan. Chartered Accountancy, which is a local qualification offered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. So I'll give you a very quick overview of what it is actually. Then how artificial intelligence is linked to it, what we see as future of accountancy. Then we'll talk about the global mobility and employability of chartered accountants, because this is a very hot topic these days amongst the students, that they won't want to move abroad. And they're looking for such options which would enable them to move abroad easily and with convenience. And then something about the global economy and what is the role of chartered accountants when we talk about the global economy and the financial and economic matters and policies of the world, followed by question and answers. Okay. So this green logo appearing right in front of you, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, ICAP, people usually call it ICAP as an abbreviated name. ICAP is a regulatory body for chartered accountants. Now, I have to clarify it every now and then that we are not a university, we are not a college, we are a regulatory body. And so the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan is a regulatory body for chartered accountants. And to make it more easy, I would say that this body supports the government in running the financial and economic matters of the country. So, yes, it's an important body. But for you at this point of time and for your students, you can say that ICAP would be an examination body for chartered accountants. So just like we have the Cambridge International Examinations, just like we have any other international examination body, just like we have our local boards run by the government. Similarly, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan is an examination body responsible for conducting the independent examination of chartered accountancy subjects. And then finally, we are the certificate awarding institute. We certify, we give the license that yes, you are a qualified chartered accountant. So we are not a university, we are not a college offering CA classes, we are a regulatory body governed by the government. In fact, you can say we are a not-for-profit organization and we promote for the well-being of the public at large. And then in front of the logo of ICAP, you would be able to see CA Pakistan, signature qualification that empowers to lead. So CA Pakistan is basically the product, the qualification of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. Just like we have the O levels and A levels as the name of the qualification offered by the Cambridge, similarly, the qualification that is offered by us is CA Pakistan. Now, one thing which is very important at this point of time is when you would advise students to go for chartered accountancy and when their families or their friends or their relatives advise them, there's one thing which bothers everyone and that must be clarified, especially as a career counselor, as a student counselor, you should know what the reality is. So when students would want to go for chartered accountancy, they are told by other people around them that beta chartered accountancy is just a certificate course. Go for a degree, do some degree so that you have something substantial in hand. So now we want to clarify it here that what chartered accountancy is. So yes, chartered accountancy is not a degree at all. I agree. It's a certificate. But what kind of a certificate it is? It is a certificate of practice. The full complete name is certificate of practice. In other words, it's a license. It's a practicing license. Just like a doctor gets a practicing license to practice medicine in a clinic. Just like an engineer gets a practicing license to build a building or a bridge. Just like a lawyer gets a practicing license to stand in the court and contest the cases. Similarly, the qualified chartered accountant gets this license, this certificate of practice from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan as a charter to independently conduct the audit of the financial statements of different entities operating in your country. So we chartered accountants become the auditors. And that is the license that we have, जो कि आम जबान में लोग उसको सर्टिफिकेट कहते हैं. तो ये कोई ऑर्डिनरी सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है, ये कोई डिप्लोमा सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है, ये कोई ट्रेनिंग सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है. Rather, it's a practicing license and it has no comparison with any degree. Then these are certain perceptions about chartered accountancy, and everyone knows about them. Chartered accountancy is very difficult. So is it? Yes, it is. In fact, it has to be. It should be. Because anything which is not challenging or difficult doesn't carry the market value. So yes, I would say it is difficult. It is challenging. It's for people who come to us with focus and dedication, but it's not something impossible. Gone are the days when there were no chartered accountancy colleges, no chartered accountancy teachers, there were no books, no syllabi, no learning outcomes, and people used to study for the CA examination on their own from unknown sources, and then the paper would come to them as a surprise. So it was difficult for them to pass the paper. But now, when we stand in 2025, we have proper structured syllabi with learning outcomes. We have proper registered CA colleges, trained teachers to teach chartered accountancy subjects. We have a passing percentage that is declared. 50% passing percentage is a declared percentage, and that does not vary with exam to exam. So if your student is going to study hard and study smart, there is no reason why they will not be able to clear chartered accountancy exam. Then there is another myth. Chartered accountancy is very expensive. So when we say expensive, it's a very relative term because when we are saying expensive, we are comparing it with something else. So The closest comparison that I can make with chartered accountancy is with BS Accounting and Finance program offered by our top universities in the country. I would not name them, but every big university, including the top universities in Karachi, Lahore, and other cities, they offer the BS Accounting and Finance program, which is a 4-year program and which is the closest comparison to chartered accountancy. And if you would like to research on your own, and you must have researched on your own, the total investment of 4 years is not around more than 4 million rupees. And then when a student becomes or graduates from these universities as BS Accounting and Finance graduate, then whatever market value they have, you know it better than me. So when we come to chartered accountancy in comparison, chartered accountancy is a program not for 4 years, not for 5 years, 5 years, it's a 5.5 years program. And the total investment of this entire chartered accountancy program is not even 6 lakh rupees. And it includes the tuition fee, the examination fee, everything. So this shows that, and in fact, I I I very responsibly can claim this that as of now, chartered accountancy is the most economical professional qualification in the private sector of our country. I'm not talking about public sector. I'm not talking about government universities. I'm talking about the private sector universities and the qualifications they offer. And Alhamdulillah, we offer the most economical professional qualification. Then yes, it gives you high rewards. It's true. It's a very rewarding profession. It's a life-changing profession. Chartered accountancy is of a very long duration. So after A levels, if your student is pursuing any masters, it will take him 6 years, 4 years bachelor's and 2 years masters. So similarly, we have it for 5.5 years. So we make it longer by not passing the papers on time. If we do it on time, and some people, especially from the A levels background, they have set examples of completing chartered accountancy in less than 5.5 years as well, because there is no restriction of time. The faster you pass the paper, the sooner you will become a chartered accountant. Okay, so with this budget that I have told you and with these efforts, no professional qualification in the country can give you these much results. Then again, it's a very, very important thing that all of us should know that chartered accountancy is for everyone, for the commerce and the non-commerce students. And it's also a myth or talk of the town that chartered accountancy is a qualification for the people with commerce background only. No, this is not right. In fact, if I would share my statistics with you for this time, more than 50% of the fresh student intake that we have in chartered accountancy is from the sciences background. So this is not primarily the qualification of commerce students. Every student from every background, be they have engineering subjects or medical subjects or computer sciences or humanities in their A levels, they're wholeheartedly welcome to chartered accountancy. And not only the sciences people form a majority in our fresh intake, they also have a higher passing probability as compared to commerce students. So that's a good news for you and for your students. Okay, we've talked about why chartered accountancy. We've talked about what's the value for chartered accountant at the national level. You know that chartered accountants occupy the highest possible positions in the top-notch entities of your country and abroad. And then very quickly, I would like to summarize the qualification process. After the A levels, you have to appear for almost uh, 18 papers if you count them 3 plus 8 plus 6 plus 1. So it's a package of 18 papers with 3.5 years training, practical training. Now, this is a very unique qualification which offers practical training along with the qualification. So when your student would pass out as a chartered accountant, he is not only qualified in terms of knowledge, he also has a 3.5 years practical working experience. And that is one reason why the qualified chartered accountants do not make entry into the organizations at the entry level. Rather they're entered at the middle management level because they already carry experience with them, so they are not treated as fresh candidates. Okay, now this question, it's always there in our minds. What is the future of accountancy when you talk about artificial intelligence? And these days, all of us, our students, and everyone, we are so used to using the AI, the generative AI in forms of Chat GPT, Gemini, Meta, and we practically ask the AI to do everything for us, except for eating and sleeping. So it comes to our mind that, okay, if is at this level right now, what is it going to be after 10 years? And do you think we would really need chartered accountants? So if this is the question directed towards chartered accountancy, then I think this question should be directed to all the occupations and qualifications and professions. Because if AI is going to become so powerful, then I think it would impact all the available qualifications. So, why are we asking this question specifically for chartered accountancy? But yes, ask it, if you ask me that question with reference to chartered accountancy, I'm there to answer that. We have seen AI in different forms. You know, the MS Excel, Microsoft Excel that we use right now, we think it's not AI. No, it's also AI. It's a different form. And whenever any new technology used to come, we used to think that, oh, I will lose my job, I will be redundant, I will be of no use to my organization. But you know, with the emergence of every technology in the last few years or in the last few decades, I would say the need for the human resource has grown. It has increased. The skill set has changed. इनिशियली मुझे लोग एक खास काम के लिए चाहिए होते थे। वो काम अगर अब एआई करके देगा, तो मुझे लोग एक हायर ऑर्डर स्किल सेट के लिए चाहिए होंगे, एआई को गवर्न करने के लिए चाहिए होंगे, हायर ऑर्डर थिंकिंग के लिए चाहिए होंगे, बिकॉज accountancy profession is not about just cramping numbers or playing with numbers. It's about advisory, it's about analysis of data, it's about taxation, it's about corporate laws, it's about financial management, it's about business management. So accounting is not restricted to just one subject or just one skill set. When you study chartered accountancy, or when your student would study chartered accountancy, it would encompass a lot of skill sets that would enable you to take good decisions for an organization, to reach to the top of the organizations. And let me tell you with pride that our chartered accountants, they not only land at the position of the chief financial officer, rather they go up to the level of chief executive officers as well, because primarily having the finance background and the little bit of operations and management experience, they are the best people to serve on the CEO positions. And when we talk about technology, we update our curriculum after every 2 to 3 years, just like any other renowned body of the world does it. So recently we've announced our new education scheme 2025, and we have integrated artificial intelligence into every subject that is part of our curriculum, so that we know how to use AI and in what context we can use AI. And every subject, when it is linked to it, it carries a meaning, it carries a value. And yes, I can definitely say that chartered accountants will are not going anywhere, but those chartered accountants who will not be able to use AI for their benefit will definitely be losing their jobs. And when we talk about global mobility and employability, coming towards the end of the session now, just a few more minutes with you. So yes, Pakistani chartered accountant, I always take pride in saying this, so I repeat, Pakistani chartered accountant, Alhamdulillah, is one of the most wanted chartered accountants in the world. And we are so stressed and depressed as a nation that nothing happens good in our country. But believe me, there are certain areas where we excel, and chartered accountancy is one area. And I'm telling you this with a lot of responsibility, that our chartered accountant is in high demand all over the world. And this is not just a claim. I would back it by the fact that the standards, the international standards that we have included as part of our curriculum, our students, our chartered accountancy students study those standards. So when they study those international standards and when they become a qualified chartered accountant, they are compatible with every country's financial environment, and every country of the world and every organization operating in that environment, they wholeheartedly welcome the chartered accountants from Pakistan. So we have chartered accountants working across the globe. Approximately 20% of our qualified chartered accountants move every year to overseas, and they're working in top-notch positions. Okay. So what is the eligibility for A levels? You need only 3 passes at A levels to be able to enter chartered accountancy. And I think if someone doesn't carry 3 pass grades, so then they have to appear for a small aptitude test known as a qualifying assessment test. And there is another good news for the A level students as well, because A levels is the only qualification right now where we offer exemptions. So if your A-level student, the A-level pass out has minimum two Bs and the B grade in the relevant subject that they're seeking exemption for. So they can get an exemption of up to maximum three papers. So I told you it's a package of 18 papers. So if your A-level students are able to secure exemptions, these 18 papers would be reduced to 15, and this would vary from student to student depending upon which subjects have they appeared for and what grades have they obtained in them. So these are our global recognitions. We're affiliated with all the chartered accountancy bodies across the world, across the continents, and it's a whole network of financial professionals working for the betterment of the financial well-being of this globe. Okay, we also offer financial assistance, although it's a very economical professional qualification, but still, if you think your students are not able to afford that much, they can come to ICAP and very secretly and with confidentiality, we offer them this financial assistance so that they are not left behind just because they lack the financial resources. So some of our qualified chartered accountants working at key positions across the world, different continents, different position, not only finance, but beyond that. And that's what makes us say that it's beyond numbers. It's about strategic decision making. It's about running the organizations. It's about setting the financial and economic outset of the world. So these are our registered colleges which operate in around the country. This is about Sindh and Balochistan. We have these registered colleges. So if your student intends to do chartered accountancy, they have to come to these colleges, get themselves registered, take the classes from there, and when they are ready for the examination, then they will register with us and will appear for an independent examination by an examination body which is not involved itself in any teaching and learning activity. These are our Punjab names. You must be familiar with them a lot. And this is Islamabad and KPK. So you can have these details later on as well. HEC recognizes our qualification as equivalent to masters. So वो जो degree की कमी थी जिसके मैंने आपसे बात करी है. So when we are a qualified chartered accountant, you'll be able to get that equivalency letter from HEC saying that you are equivalent to masters for them. We have our offices nationwide, our head office in Karachi, in Clifton, Block 8. If you people are situated nearby, you're more than welcome to us for different collaborations and for different conversation that you might want to initiate. So Nabia, that's all pretty much from my side. Given the time that you gave me, I hope I did not take beyond that. So it's over to you for any questions or for anything further that you would want me to do.
Well, thank you. You're actually way ahead of the schedule. So
Okay.
that's completely
Okay.
fine. It's completely fine. I think we have like half an hour and that's completely fine.
Yes.
So so there is one question in the chat box, and I'm going to encourage
Okay.
everyone to
Okay.
unmute yourselves. And if you have any questions, please ask Fahad. Feel free to do so. If you want, you can
Yes.
also type them in the chat and we'll be taking those questions. So I'm going to take the question that is there in the chat, Fahad. This is by
Yes.
Ahad
And
Khan
Nabia,
is,
I deliberately kept it short because mashallah, all these are, seasoned counselors. So it's very difficult to listen to long conversations. So I would like to engage more in question and answers. That would be
yes,
more
absolutely.
beneficial for them. Yes. So please feel
Absolutely.
free to ask questions. Yes.
So there's one question from Ahad Khan. Is CA a degree or a course? And can we get into it with maths, physics, and computer science? I think this is something that you've responded to, but we'll be happy if you could do
Yes.
this again.
I think thank you, Mr. Ahad, for this question. Maybe you joined after the part that I covered this in. Actually, C is not a degree. I told you it's a certificate, but this certificate is like a license. That's why we call chartered accountant. So when we say chartered accountant, it means मैं बहुत आसान करके आपको बता रहा हूँ. It means licensed accountant, the one who carries the practicing license to become the auditor of any company. So this is well above any other degree. This has no comparison with the degree at all. And yes, if your student has maths, physics, and I don't know what the subject you said, so there is no restriction on subject. I told you it's for everyone. No matter what combination of subjects you have, it's all right. We wholeheartedly welcome you. And if your student is concerned that I have not studied these subjects, accounting, business, audit, tax, never ever in my life. So how am I going to succeed? How am I going to excel? So tell them that We are going to teach them from the basics, from the ABCDs, so they will not have any problem at all and they will feel like they're at home.
Thank you, Fahad. There is one more question from Afsha Kareem, which is as you mentioned in your presentation, that for A-level exemption, they need B grade in the relevant subject. What are the relevant subjects?
Okay, yes, I think I missed out that. Thank you for asking this, for this clarification. The first three subjects at the first level we have are we have one subject which is equivalent to mathematics, then we have one subject which is equivalent to economics and business, then we have one subject which is equivalent to accounting. So if your students in the A levels they have, let's say, a combination, let me put it as an example. If you have a combination of accounting, business, and economics, and they get B grade in, let's say, accounting, and they have another B other than accounting as well. Overall, they have two Bs in their result, and they have a B in accounting. So they will get our accounting exempted. Similarly, economics and business is one subject that we have at our initial level. So if they have passed with a B grade in economics and business, they can get another paper exempted with us. Then the third paper is if they have further mathematics, not pure mathematics, if they have further mathematics at A levels and they have if they have a B grade in that and another B beside that, that means overall two Bs as well. So they can get a third exemption as well. So further maths is not very common. You know that it's rare. Very few people in very few schools offer that. But if they have accounting, business, and economics, and if they have B grades, two B grades overall and one B grade in the relevant subject, then they can get two exemptions from us. So they have to appear for only one paper at the first level of chartered accountancy, which means in total they have 16 papers to pass and not 18. I
Thank you,
hope that
Fahad.
answers your question.
Yes, I think there was a similar question regarding exemptions, so I hope that's been answered. There's next question, which is, what is the route like to chartered accountancy after A levels? If you can explain again.
Ah. It's very simple. For A is basically our qualification the starts after the A levels or intermediate. So if your student is coming from the A levels, that is the the most common route that is taken by people. So it's 13 years of education, then you directly get admitted into chartered accountancy, you get certain exemption, and then you continue your journey. So you do not need to do anything after A levels to get compatible with your entry in chartered accountancy. So it's direct entry from the A levels into the chartered accountancy. And as I told you, if they have three passes, they have appeared for at least three subjects, and they have three passes. Forget about exemptions right now. I'm talking about the entry. So if they have three subjects and they have three passes in those subjects, they are welcome to chartered accountancy. They do not have to give any entrance test or they do not have to pass any level. They have direct access to chartered accountancy. It can't be easier than this.
Thank you, Fahad. There are more questions, so I'm going to take them. Do we need any additional qualification besides CA to be employed outside of Pakistan, specifically US, UK, and Australia? This question is by Mohit Ahmed.
Okay, thank you, Mohit. As I told you, that Pakistani qualified chartered accountant is one of the most wanted chartered accountants in the world. And I think I forget to mention one thing: that chartered accountancy is the pinnacle of chartered accountants. I mean pinnacle of accountancy profession. Just like we do PhDs, that is the highest possible level that we can achieve. Similarly, when your student is a qualified chartered accountant, so that is the highest possible qualification in chartered accountancy around the world. If you want to do anything further in accountancy, I'm sorry, we have nothing to do, right? Yes, the student can diversify, do degrees and certifications in other areas, but not in accountancy. So as a chartered accountant, if you want to pursue your career, this chartered accountancy offered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan is complete in all sense. It doesn't require any further degree or qualification or certificate to supplement it so that you're eligible for working in these countries. With only this certificate, there are people who are working in UK, US, Australia, New Zealand. Yes, for diversification purposes, we recommend students to go for other degrees and courses as well, so that they can always switch their careers or have additional knowledge and information. But this is on its own sufficient for them.
Thank you, Mohit, for asking this. I hope this clarifies your concern. So there's one more question. I've always heard that it takes 8 years to do CA. What is the minimum time it can take to complete if I've taken accounting in A levels?
Okay. So 8 years, I don't know who told you 8 years, on an average, let me talk about an average. On an average, a good student takes 5.5 to 6 years to do it. This is statement one. Now, statement two. On an average, a good A-level student approximately takes 4.5 to 5 years.
There's another question. This is by Annabelle. Do students need to
Hmm.
do some kind of additional conversion courses to work in the US with the qualification as CPA and not CA?
Actually, CPA is purely a US qualification. So if they are doing CPA, so they have no problem working in US. But if you were a chartered accountant from Pakistan, and let's say if you migrate to US, so the only thing that you need to study over there is their laws and their taxation. There are two things which are unique to every country: the corporate laws and the taxation laws. So these two things are necessary for you to study to be able to practice those things in that particular country. So those countries, they offer those conversion courses, and when people do them, they become compatible with their own local qualified chartered accountant. With respect to Pakistan, there is no requirement as such. But if you move to a country where the corporate laws and taxation laws are different from Pakistan, then yes, you have to do those courses over there so that you become a compatible accountant for them to work in their country.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. So there are a few more questions, which is one of them is by Shaista. I just want to know about the pass percentage and the pass out acceptance.
Okay, pass percentage, as I told you, we have a declared passing percentage of subject, that is 50%. And if you are trying to ask that what is the percentage of people passing the examination, so it's not exam wise, it's paper wise. For example, if we have 18 papers, so for every paper in every exam session, we have a different passing percentage. For example, इतने percent लोग, they passed paper A, these much percent log they pass paper B, and it varies from 30 to 70%. Sometimes some papers are more manageable than others. People score higher in them. Sometimes some papers are a little tough, so there is a lower passing percentage. But a student who has attempted the full paper and has, attempted it well up to the extent of 50%, I guarantee you there is no force on this earth that can stop him from passing the C exam. Okay.
There are a few more questions, and I think so. Yeah. So this one is by Zena Barif. Can you explain more what the curriculum is like?
Okay, so in order to explain the curriculum, I think it'll be a very lengthy conversation, but just to give you an idea that what subjects do we have as part of chartered accountancy curriculum? Because when we say chartered accountant, so what comes to our mind is, oh, we are going to teach accountancy only, but it's not that. It starts from economics, business, mathematics, then taxation, corporate laws, auditing, financial management, business management, strategic management, and whatnot. So it covers the entire aspects of it, any organization you work for. And that is why we say when chartered accountants join the organizations, they are the experts of finance, no doubt about that. But they know about every function and every department of the organization. And that is why they easily are able to get up to the positions of CEOs.
Okay, I think I'm going to reinforce that if anybody has any questions, they can unmute themselves and ask the questions directly. In case not, then I think there's
I
one
can see,
more.
Nabia, some people asking for my contact details. So I don't know whether I'm allowed as
Yes.
part of this webinar or not. So if I'm allowed, then I can write that in the chat, or you can provide that later on to that particular participant.
So I think we can provide that later on because
Okay.
yeah, we may be able to share it with the counselors, so that's completely fine.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah. So there are more questions after the completion of A level. So IBCC certificate is required to get it.
You do not need the IBCC certificate. We only need the statement of marks issued to you by the Cambridge or the statement of result whatsoever. And then we have our own formula through which we would see whether you meet our criteria or not. So
All right. So I think this is one question. I think that's for us, so that's completely fine. We're going to,
okay.
yes, we will be sharing the recording of this session, and I've also shared a link in the chat, which directs you to the previous webinars that we've conducted. If anybody has any questions that thank you so much, Fahad. I think we're right on time and there's still 10 minutes, but we have possibly responded to all questions. And I'm definitely going to thank you for taking out your time and working with us on this webinar. This has been quite helpful and I can see the participation and engagement here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nabia, for giving me this opportunity. And if any one of you would need my contact details, you can refer to the Cambridge team and they will let you know. And it was really, really heartening to address the group of people.
Thank you so much, Fahad. In case there are more questions, we will write to you and you can
Sure,
respond to
sure.
them and
No
we'll
worries.
take
Always
it
there.
back to the counselor.
Always there.
Thank you so much once
Thank you. Thank
again.
you very much once
And
again. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
let's take care. Allah Hafiz.